The village headman is getting the roads mended by the workers. Therefore, where you stand is a sacred place, and he took Sanjeevani from these hills that's around us. Mara then meets a visitor who has come a long way to ask for a favor. There is this torrential downpour, there is heavy rain in the region, and there is somebody who is calling the king at the late hour. Hello students, I'm Anil, lecturer, Department of English, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. In this session, we are going to look at a drama written by R.K. Narayan, which is titled Watchman of the Lake. This drama has 5 scenes. This is one of the few dramas written by R.K. Narayan. R.K. Narayan, he was an Indian author whose works of fiction include a series of books about people and their interactions in an imagined town in India called Malgudi. He is one of the 3 leading figures of early Indian literature in English, along with Mulkraj Anand and Raja Rao. He is credited with bringing Indian literature in English to the rest of the world and is regarded as one of India's greatest English novelists. Narayan rarely wrote plays, and the present one is said to be a dramatized version of his short story, The Watchman. In this drama, we have certain characters. They are a village headman, the king, Mara, the watchman of the lake, and the story is centered upon this character. Ganga is Mara's son, and son is not given a name, who is the son of Ganga. Bhima is a road maker, and there are some other minor characters in the play. Now the pretext for this drama is this. On the eastern base of Bababudan Hills in Karnataka state, there is an obscure little place now called Sakrapatna. If you look in the map, it is given the name of Sakarayapatna, which is at one time, 1,000 or more years ago, was the capital of a king called Rukmangada. In the center of this town, there is a shrine which is dedicated not to distant gods or heroes, but to a rustic who was watchman of the lake called Ayanakere, 4 miles from the town. For the purpose of this little drama, let us call him as Mara, which is as good as any other name handed down to us by tradition. So there is a story related to this Ayanakere, and there was a common man, rustic, a farmer, and his name nobody knows, but for the reference, we take his name as Mara. That is what the introduction is given to this drama. Mara is the central character for this play. Scene 1, village at the foot of a hill, road menders at work. So what is happening in the first scene? So there is this village headman who is getting the roads repaired because the king of the state is going to visit through that road. In this scene, village headman is furious about Mara's attitude and mischievousness. This leads Mara to be locked up in the cellar behind the old temple. Now, what is the story? The village headman is getting the roads mended by the workers. And those workers start laughing at each other. And there was something going on. People were whispering about something and they were not working properly. The village headman becomes very furious. And he asked them what was wrong. And they said that there is that lunatic, Mara. And that man is peeping at us, and village headman becomes now furious. Why is this Mara troubling us so much? And he tells his people, the road workers, to go and catch that man. They go behind him, they catch that man. He was brought in front of the village headman. And village headman, he tells him angrily that the king is passing on this road after 2-3 days. And they need to finish the road work. And this man is troubling them to finish their work. And Mara has something to tell to the village headman, that he had a dream that a goddess wants to create a lake in this place. But village headman thinks that he is mad, he is insane. He believes in his dreams and those dreams are not true. And therefore he tells one of his road workers, who is strongly built, named Bhima, to take this man Mara to a cellar behind an old temple and lock him up there. So this is what happens in the first scene. People are working on the road, village headman is supervising their work. They start laughing, looking at this man peeping their work, that man is Mara, and they tell that that man is peeping at their work. And village headman brings that man, catches him, and he warns him not to disturb them because he is keeping the road ready for the king. And Mara, though he tells repeatedly that he had a dream that a goddess wanted to create a lake in this place, village headman does not believe. So he was locked behind the temple in a cellar by Bhima, one of the strongest workers in the place. So this is the first scene. Now coming to scene 2, trumpets blowing, restrained cheering of crowds, etc. announce the arrival of the king. Suddenly there is confusion. As the king is about to pass under a tree, someone jumps down from its branches. A medley of voices crying, where did he jump from? Who is he? Hold him. So now Mara knew that the king would pass on the road, and he was waiting on the branch of a tree. And when the king's procession comes there, he jumps from the tree and there is confusion. And when king asked, who is this man? Crowd wanted to tell him that he was, and king orders, let the man speak for himself. And Mara says that, Your Majesty, the place where you stand on is a sacred place. There was Hanuman who was there to find Sanjeevani for Lakshmana at Sri Lanka. Therefore, where you stand is a sacred place, and he took Sanjeevani from these hills that's around us. And he takes this Sanjeevani, he gives this to Lakshmana, and Lakshmana was revived. And since that day, when Hanuman took Sanjeevani from this place, a river flowed, and that river is the lifeline of your subjects. And then he tells to the king that that river is river Veda. And he also says to the king that he had a dream. And in that dream, he saw a goddess who was wearing a golden robe, and she had stars in her crown, and there was a ruby in her forehead. And she told Mara in his dream that Mara has to inform the king about creating a lake for that river Veda. That river Veda is a plaything to the goddess. She tells that this river will nourish the mortals, people, and also it revives gods. So such is the power of this river Veda. And this river that will dry up during summer. So the goddess commands Mara to inform king to build a lake, keep the water which you need during the summer, and allow the remaining water to flow away. And therefore, the king is ordered through Mara by the goddess to create a lake for river Veda. River Veda is a plaything to the goddess. She takes care of this river Veda, but that river Veda is kept in cool when there is summer, when the river cannot flow. Therefore, the goddess appears in the dream of Mara, and through Mara, she conveys an order to the king. That is scene 2. Now, coming to the third scene, many years later, Mara standing before his hut on the bank of the vast lake. There is a mingled noise of wavelets breaking upon the shore, cries of girls, and the rustling of tree leaves. In this scene, Mara is seen with his son Ganga. Mara chases away the man who is fishing in the lake. Mara then meets a visitor who has come a long way to ask for a favor. So here we see that the king, as ordered by the goddess through Mara, he builds a big tank for river Veda. And now Mara is appointed as the watchman of the lake. So now we come to know that the central character, Mara, is appointed as the guard of the lake. So now he looks at the vast lake. He is very happy to collect the waters of river Veda. Then he thinks that the entire scenery is beautiful. And he finds a man who was fishing there. And he goes to that man, he rebukes him, he scolds him and tells that he should not harm any creature that comes to the lake. And he is sent away from the place. Now he is doing his job, and a man appears there seeking the help of Mara. He says, this man has come far away from the village and he needs water for his crops and people. And Mara assures that the water is for the people of the king. Then he says, once a channel is created with the orders of the king, then he can easily let water to the people of that place. He is the caretaker of this lake. Coming to the fourth scene, Late at night, torrential downpour and a shrieking storm, the king's palace. The bell at the palace gate ringing incessantly. In this scene, Mara goes to the king in order to stop goddess from destroying the lake. At the end of the scene, Mara sacrifices his own life. Now, what happens in scene 3? There is this torrential downpour, there is heavy rain in the region, and there is somebody who is calling the king at the late hour. At midnight, the rain was too heavy. Mara was there. He went running to the king and he wanted king to come out. And when king came out, he recognizes Mara and says, "Oh Mara, it is you. What happened?" And Mara narrates the story. "Your Majesty, I was there in my hut, keeping an eye on the lake. There was no sign of this rain. But in the evening, all of a sudden, everything changed. And the rain started downpouring. River Veda rose in her glare. And what happened? The water in the lake is just looking like the waves of an ocean. So now, he went out and he saw goddess there. And goddess was very angry. Now she is willing to destroy the lake. She orders Mara to take out all the stones kept for holding Veda. And there, Mara asked, "Goddess, it's on your command that we created this lake." And now goddess says, "Yes, now I am angry. I have no mood to give anything. Now I will destroy everything. Keep away your hut." And Mara says, "Dear goddess, you should not do like this. I beg you." But the goddess did not listen to Mara. She was very much angry. She wanted to let her toy thing, that is River Veda, free. And Mara says, "I'll talk to king. I find a solution. And let me find something which will set Veda free." It takes the promise of the goddess that until he returns, that she should not harm anybody or anything. And Mara runs to the king. He narrates the entire story to the king. And king did not know what to do and he was looking for solution. And now he says, "Your Majesty, I have a solution. The goddess will keep her words until I return. She will not do harm to anybody. So therefore, what I could do is, I sacrifice myself. Make sure that I do not return to that place." And king was really shocked. And finally, Mara prepares himself to sacrifice for the people of the state. And finally, Mara sacrifices his life. Before sacrificing, he begs king. He requests king that his sons and his own generation of sons should be the watchmen of the lake. And with this, king grants his wish. And Mara sacrifices his life for the people of the state. And in scene 5, in front of the shrine on the lake, Ganga and his son. Now Mara is gone. Ganga, son of Mara, was the watchman of the lake, has his own son. In scene 5, Ganga instructs his son not to miss worship in the shrine, and he also narrates to his own son how he lost his father, Mara. In the 5th scene, the last scene, now Ganga is calling his son. His son has missed worshipping the goddess. Now he tells him what happened to this king, why he is the watchman of the lake. Here, Ganga explains what happened that particular night when he was appointed the watchman of the lake. He tells to his son that he should not miss worshipping the figures there in the shrine. He tells, "When I was less than your age, I was appointed as the watchman of this lake." What happened that night? The last night when I saw my father was that midnight where he ran to meet the king. The very next day, when he opened his eyes, he saw his hut blown away. He was there without anything, and king stood in front of Mara's son Ganga. And king revealed what happened that night, and he also tells that Mara sacrificed his life for the people of the kingdom. And he was appointed as the watchman of the lake. Since then, Ganga is guarding the lake. And now he tells his son he should not miss worshipping the images in the shrine. On the top pedestal was the image of the goddess, who was the protector of the river. And below her, on the lower pedestal, was the image of a man. And that man was none other than Mara. So he tells that he should never miss worshipping them or he would be very angry. And there the play ends with this. Here there are some words. Buck means a male deer. Crowbar, a straight iron bar, usually with a curved end. Prattle means a silly or foolish talk. Coronet means a small crown. Crest means the topmost ridge of a mountain. Dissipate means to gradually disappear, to go in deep. Slake means to drink so that you no longer feel thirsty. Sapphire, bright blue, precious stone. Torrential means falling in large amount. Torrent, a large amount of water moving quickly. Crouch means to lower your body close to the ground by bending your legs under you. Executioner means a public official whose job is to execute criminals. So these are some of the words in the play. Therefore, in Arkanarayan's story, which is turned into a play, Watchman of the Lake, though it's a simple story, here we have to understand that nature is superior to man. But man or human beings, they do sacrifice to protect these resources. So here, River Veda is the plaything of the goddess. She appears in the dream of Mara, instruct him to tell the king to create a lake for her toiling River Veda and collect as much water as they need and then let the other water flow away. And when king listens to this, he creates or he constructs a lake for River Veda. And after many years, there is this torrential downpour. The goddess is angry. She wants to let her plaything free. She tells Mara that they have to clear the path for Veda to flow in this torrential way. But Mara said, if that is done, many things will happen, many damages will happen. And Mara said, he requests goddess to wait till he returns from king. He goes to the king, he tells everything, and finally he decides, since the goddess has promised him to not harm anybody until he returns, he would sacrifice his life. And once he sacrificed his life, his position was handed over to his sons and his grandsons by the king. And people worship this man because that man had given his life away for protecting the lives of many. So with this, we shall come to an end. We shall see in the next class. Thank you.